I should have brought more water, and I should have drank a little bit more ahead of time. And I should have rode the proper bike too. But, these things happen. When I was preparing for Leadville versus this Austin Rattler, I had spent that time. I had talked with other people who had done it before, spent a lot of time in the bike shop, talking to the bike shop owner about how to prepare, how to train properly. And I just hadn't done my homework ahead of time, so I paid for it. Today's episode is a story about heat, rocks, dehydration, and a whole lot of mental battle.
Hello and welcome to the Relax It's Retirement podcast with your host, Josh Leonard, where we talk about transitioning into retirement with intent. I'm Wendy McConnell. Hello, this is Josh. Now, at the top, were you talking about a rock band?
No, talking about a mountain bike race on some rocks.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. And when was this?
First Saturday in November, I got out there. It was my big bike race for the year.
Okay.
This one, the Austin Rattler, was a qualifier for Leadville. If you remember, that was the big bike race that I did in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And from this one, if you finish it, you can get a qualifier coin and be able to do the Leadville again. So that was kind of my goal. And I figured if this is a qualifier for Leadville, then it has to be easier, right?
Right.
And 60 miles is less than 105, right?
The big one is a lot uphill, though, right?
It is. It's a lot of sustained uphill. And Austin
was the Rattler
a little more the Rattler, one might think like a rattlesnake.
Okay. I got it.
Are we there now?
Yeah, I can picture it in my mind.
Okay. And, it's Texas, so there's rattlesnakes, from what I hear.
All right, great. Yeah.
But this was the first time I flew with my bike, so...
Did you buy it a seat?
Yeah, it was my carry-on. I tried to jam it up above. We flew Southwest, so everyone loved me. No, it was a checked bag. And Southwest loves me, so I didn't have to pay anything extra for this suitcase that, is about yay tall. Because you take the bike apart, but it still has to go in the suitcase. And if you think of just the frame, like the immovable parts, it's still pretty large, right?
Yeah, you had to buy a special suitcase for that, I assume.
It does. It has its own special suitcase with lots of foam padding in it, and you take it apart. So the night before, I did a crash course on how to take apart a bike and pack it into a suitcase.
Can't they just wheel it right under the cargo part?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if I didn't put it in something padded, though, they would be it'd be one of those videos where, you just see them wing it into the plane.
Right. And then whatever happens while you're in the air, obviously. Yeah. Good thinking, Josh. This is why you bike and I don't.
I learned from other people. I actually don't know too much about it. When I did Leadville, we drove out there. So this was a big step for me. But, we got it, checked it in. Couple jokes going through TSA that, it's a body, not a bike, and things like that. And we didn't get arrested. So, Yana and I went out together. She was a good sport, coming with me, helping me pack up. And I was a little nervous because I booked our accommodations. And I don't have the best track record with that, Wendy.
Then why does she still let you do it?
It's one of those relationship things, She tries to trust me. It turned out okay, though. I booked a cabin on the ranch where we were, and it was small, it was quaint, but it was right on the course, right by the start-finish line. So when I'm riding my bike forever, she can go back and read a book or do anything else,
That was very courtesy of you. That was very...
Courteous, perhaps.
Courtesy, courteous.
Yeah.
That sounds better, yes.
So I flew with the bike. So I packed it up, got it in. We got there, and luckily it wasn't broken. I was able to put it back together that Friday. The race was on Saturday, so put the bike back together. It seemed like it was all good, but
right.
Bike Farm was the name of the bike shop that they had there on the course, and they were nice enough to take a look over the bike. And the first comment I got was, "Ooh, you're riding a hardtail. Good for you," which we'll come back to that later. And then
Is that a seat?
that means only front suspension, not rear suspension.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Tends to be quicker, but you feel it more because there's less, shock absorbing.
Yeah, I know. And I actually bought a new bike this year.
Oh, you did? Okay,
I
let's
know
talk
all
that.
about that.
Throwing this out the window. Tell me about that. What kind of riding have you been doing, Wendy?
I think I've ridden it 3 times since we
Oh,
purchased
we
it
did
this
talk
past
about this.
summer. Yes. So, but yeah, I definitely noticed the less shock absorbers.
Depending on the tire size, you can ride with a little less air in it too. That's another way to help absorb a little bit more.
I didn't know that was something that was recommended.
It can be. It's a fine line because if you go too low, then you might damage the wheel or get a pinch flat. So we got to watch
Right.
those things. But so I had the hardtail and they said, "Oh, when was the last time you put sealant in your tubeless tires?" And I said, "Yeah, they're not tubeless." And they said, "Do you want them to be tubeless? Because we have a lot of goat heads, which are these pointy little, here in Pittsburgh, we might call them like similar to a Jagger bush. There's a Pittsburgh term for you. Thorn bush.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it.
Something pointy that is not good for bike tires."
Okay.
So they said it's common to get several flats throughout the race. You probably want to go tubeless. They were nice enough to help me out, and I went for a little test ride. Everything seemed good, so I was feeling pretty good. Bike worked. Bike shop looked over it, made a couple tweaks, and I was good to go. So it was easy for us because we were right at the start-finish line. So the next morning, got up. My bike was there, ready to go. We kind of walked out, checked everything out. We had 2 friends drive from Kansas to come ride with us, Colin and his cousin, Alec. And we had dinner with them after we flew in. So nice, calm evening, went to bed early, met up with them at the start line, and the 3 of us were going to ride together. I had a little bit more biking experience than the 2 of them. So the plan was I'll do the first lap with them because it's 60 miles, but each lap is 20 miles. So it's 3 laps, 20 miles each.
Got it.
I did not quite stick with them the whole lap, though. We got going, and I got competitive and kind of rode off like a couple miles in.
Oh, rude.
I know, but it's hard because on a mountain bike race, like there's parts where it's really narrow. So if you're trying to ride slower, it can actually become kind of dangerous because people are coming up on you. And if you're looking back to see where,
All right, if you want to go with those excuses, that's fine. Now go ahead.
they are. They're my excuses, and I'm sticking with them, Wendy. So I kept riding. And, the first lap went pretty well. I was a little disoriented. Course was a little hard to follow in points, but, I did well. Near the end, I was kind of numb. My hands were kind of numb. So a hardtail mountain bike has no suspension in the back. Large parts of the course were like large granite rocks. Either loose or actually riding on the rocks. So a lot of slamming. It wasn't the rattlesnakes that it was named after. It was, I think, more the rattling on the mountain bike.
Okay.
But other than, not being able to feel the brakes as you're going downhill, I felt great. Came into the checkpoint, saw Yana. Yana gave me some more gear, some more nutrition, some more water. And I kept riding. And the big difference between Texas and Western Pennsylvania in November is the weather.
Yeah, it's still very warm in Texas.
Over 90 degrees on my second lap. So my water consumption skyrocketed.
Did you not take this into account?
I had a fair amount of water with me. I mean, I had 1.5 liters in my backpack and then
Really
2
just a yes
water
or no
bottles.
question, Josh.
I did not properly prepare, I think is the theme of most of the story today, Wendy.
Oh, okay.
So to cut to the end. No, I guess I should have brought more water and I should have drank a little bit more ahead of time. And I should have rode the proper bike too. But, these things happen. So,
It was even the wrong bike
yeah,
because of this shock absorber thing.
yes, I was the only person riding this type of bike.
Oh.
It's kind of like if you showed up to, if you were, potentially racing cars and you showed up and you figured out that you were the only person in an SUV and everyone else is in sports cars, you're probably not going to do too well, right? It was quick on the flat, even parts, but there was not a lot of flat, even parts. Lots of quick hills, turning into like sandy corners, and then lots of rocks. So it was rough. Got pretty dehydrated about halfway through the second lap. Ran out of water. Was not feeling very good. Chain kept popping off into the spokes too, so trying to do some bike maintenance along the course. It was kind of tough. And with about 8 miles left in that second lap, I thought, how am I going to quit? Because I want to quit. This is awful, and I don't feel very good.
Were you getting cramps?
No cramps, luckily. Just beat up, like felt like I was running a jackhammer all day.
Okay, gotcha.
And hot and dehydrated. So, I wasn't feeling too great. And I'm thinking, how am I going to justify this to Yana, who I convinced to come out here for a weekend to watch me ride my bike in circles all day? How am I going to convince that 2/3 of the way through the race, I'm done?
Well, I think that she's really concerned about your health and your welfare. So you've got that going for you.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
If you told her you didn't feel well, I can't imagine her saying, "Get back on that bike and go."
Yes. If I said I medically don't think I could do this, then I'm sure she would say, all right, let's get you to the hospital. So I knew that I wasn't getting off easy. Plus, like, our whole team had like links to track me on my Garmin thing. So I'm getting like messages on my bike computer like, keep going, great job. And I'm like, oh my gosh, all right, I got to do this. So I'm going in to the checkpoint, finishing the second lap, thinking for like the last hour about how I can justify quitting it in my own mind, and couldn't quite get there. So I'm like, well, before I see Yana, I should probably try to eat something and rehydrate. So I drank a bunch of pickle juice and ate some energy bars and drank some water, and then got to the checkpoint, and she could just see it all over my face. Like, no part of him wants to be doing this at this point. And she's like, you got it. And sitting with her was Alec, one of the friends that we were riding with. He had threw in the towel after the first lap.
Okay.
He was like, nope, stomach issues. I'm not doing this. This is too much. He threw in the towel. So, I figured I'm gonna do it. A little pat on the back from Yana, a lot of encouragement, and a look of, you said you were gonna do this, so you better do it. And we got back out there.
How's the third and final lap going?
Third lap, funny part is after you go through that low of a point, it only gets better, right? And you know that the end's coming. So third lap, I still struggled through, but I finished. And, that third lap, I had some fun, right? When you are committed and you have to get to the finish line, then you just got to keep going, right? So I was in the struggle bus section of the race with a lot of people that also did not necessarily have the day they were initially planning on.
Right.
But I still finished and got another medal, this guy here.
Well, then it wasn't really, a failure or you didn't prepare, but you still did it.
My goal was to finish, which I did. However, I think the real lessons to be had here are keep a positive mindset throughout, right? Spending an hour thinking about how I'm going to quit is not helpful and certainly does not make it enjoyable. I think also preparing, right? So this race is not as widely followed as Leadville, so there isn't as much public available information. Like Leadville, you can kind of watch a million videos and know almost all parts of the course, but I certainly am using that as an excuse rather than digging a little bit deeper, trying to get more information on the course ahead of time.
Okay.
Researching my bike setup. I spent a lot of time before Leadville researching my bike setup, making modifications to it. I didn't do that, right? I just kind of took the same bike and figured, I can do it. Which I did, but it was a lot less comfortable. Same thing with nutrition, right? These are things when you're going to ride your bike for 8 hours, you should probably know what you're putting in your body to keep it going and equate for the difference in weather from Pennsylvania to Texas. That heat can be equally as difficult as elevation at times, right? It really beats up your body. You dehydrate a lot quicker. So making sure that you have enough water to be safe out there and knowing how the different foods react with your body, whether it's in heat, this, that, or the other. So I got some big things to take away from that. The good news is,
Okay.
I was scolded for not having the proper bike setup. But I think that's all the more reason for me to buy another bike.
Oh, no.
That's a win.
No.
That's a win
No,
right
no,
there.
no. We can do some adjustments to the current bike, can't we?
I can't add suspension to it, so it's based on the bike frame. Just can't do it.
Loosen the tires, let a little air out of the tires.
I don't want to loosen the tires, Wendy.
I misspoke when I said that.
I know. I just had to. But I think, preparing ahead of time, right? So I think that this, my bike adventure here is just like preparing for retirement, right? I can get to the end line. I did finish. However, I was not as happy, right? I made it more difficult for myself by not preparing more ahead of time. If I had the proper bike set up, I had dialed in my nutrition a little bit more, I probably would have been able to finish in a lot better time and have a more happy result. I think by still finishing it and getting there, I'm encouraged now to go back and conquer this one again. But retirement's different, right? Hopefully we only have to retire once. If we do really bad, we might have to retire twice.
That's true. Yes.
But we want to make sure that we're prepared for these things, think through all the factors ahead of time. I think when I was preparing for Leadville versus this Austin Rattler, I had spent that time. I had talked with other people who had done it before, spent a lot of time in the bike shop, talking to the bike shop owner about how to prepare, how to train properly. And I just hadn't done my homework ahead of time. So I paid for it with a longer day. I think because I've done these longer events before and I know that I can push through it with a little encouragement from Yana, and by a little, I mean a lot. I've told her since probably wouldn't have finished it if you weren't there. Probably would have just made some crybaby excuses and quit.
May I add that the reason you started doing these types of races to begin with was because you were so impressed with her giving birth to your children, and she did not have
That is exactly it.
She did not have the option to quit.
She did not. No. You gotta see your way through it, right?
Yes.
So for the rest of my life, I will be trying to emulate the sacrifice made for our family.
Well, she did it twice. You've done it more than twice now, so it's you might be good, but I know you want to go further.
I do. I want to challenge myself more. I think it's really good, for our kids too. They didn't go to this race, but we FaceTimed in the morning, FaceTime after the race, to see me kind of go through that struggle, to see me train for something and prepare for something, even if it wasn't quite enough preparation this time. I still rode my bike a lot leading up to it. I think having those challenges and pushing through those throughout life, even in retirement, to still have challenges that we're trying to overcome is something that keeps us going, right? And I think for the younger generation, in my case, for my kids, it's really good to see me doing that, so they're encouraged, from this point moving forward. And I think also for a lot of folks that we work with that are in retirement, finding those new challenges. It doesn't have to be a bumpy 60-mile bike ride in Austin, Texas, but it can be, getting on a competitive pickleball tournament session right? Wendy.
Why you got to throw that in there? I've been injured. I can't play anymore. I'm retiring.
It can even be, golfing with friends or just doing something with friends too, where it's not only the physical aspect, but also the social. We need to stay engaged and challenge ourselves a little bit more. I know for my parents this year, my mom picked up golf and we kind of laughed because she had this whole regiment of she hits so many balls with each club every day into like a driving net at the house. And then she does putting and, she did not beat anyone on the PGA Tour this year, but she made massive strides to be able to go out and golf with my dad and my uncle and other family members and friends who have been golfing for a long time. So by putting in that effort, you're able to do something that you weren't able to do before, which is growth, right? And I think we always need to be looking for that next chapter of growth in every stage of life.
I agree.
And this is going to be a great precursor to an upcoming episode about goal setting for the new year. This is our first episode we're recording in our new office. For us, we're moving at the beginning of next year, 2026, to a bigger office space here in Pittsburgh. So this really plain wall will be filled in. We'll have a better setup here in the new office. But for us, that was a big goal over the last year. Try to find a new home here in Pittsburgh. We went through many different iterations of that. And it was something that we had written down at the end of last year, and it didn't look like it was going to happen. But just in the last month and a half, we found a good location. We're able to negotiate favorable deals, and we'll be moving. So sometimes with the right amount of patience and persistence, you'll end up exactly where you planned.
That's good. Yep.
Yeah. So I look forward to giving you my commitments for bike races next year, Wendy.
I hear a challenge in there. I definitely think that you're giving me a warning of some sort. Okay.
Well, I think also bike wise, I don't know if I gave the shout out to Pete though, or if we talked about this, but one of his goals was to ride 50 miles this year on his bike.
Total or in one clip?
Well, that might have been a misunderstanding on my part, but on our team goal sheet, one of his personal goals was to ride 50 miles. He definitely rode collectively way more than that. I took it as in one ride. So we did that here in October. We did a 25-mile out and back ride here in Pittsburgh. It was beautiful, perfect fall weather for a long ride, and he pushed through it. And, he's open to doing it again. I do think his initial goal was more of like a bike packing trip, like maybe ride out 25 miles, camp somewhere, and then ride back the next day. But I took it slightly different.
Well, yeah. I mean, I took it different from how you took it, and he meant it different from how we both took it.
Right. So specificity and goals is very important.
Okay.
But shout out to Pete on that one. That was a big, those long rides, it's equally as much mental as it is physical. So just staying committed to doing something for that long period of time is really where we get the ultimate gratification from those things. So I think, for me, bike riding, it is something that I love and I get a lot of enjoyment from, but that doesn't mean that you enjoy every second of it. I think it's critical that you have a good support system for these as well. I think one of the struggles I know you had this year was a partner in pickleball. Fortunately, Yana is there to support me fearlessly in my bike riding and really helps me get to the finish line in almost every race. So we need those things to accomplish goals. I think in terms of retirement planning, we need to take a look at everything, right? It's the end of the year now. So start thinking about, hey, what went really well this year? What do I want to go better next year? And start putting plans in place to get there. If you're not working with someone, or maybe you're not even retired yet, and you're thinking about it over the next group of years, starting to walk through a process. For us, it's our True Intent planning system, where we think through the 5 pillars of retirement planning to make sure we have a fully rounded picture before we walk into retirement is very important. So thinking through that income plan, that investment plan, that tax plan, the health plan. So if you're going to have a heart attack in a bike race, stop, right? If you can power through, then you better power through because it's good for you.
No.
And if you do die at the bike race, make sure you have a legacy plan so the money goes where you want, right? You see how I pulled that in there? So, much like anything that's good in life, we got to struggle through, right? In hindsight, I love doing the bike race. However miserable I was on that second lap, I'm glad that I finished. If I didn't finish, I would still be bummed out about it. I would have come home and felt very defeated. Now, even though I didn't get the result I wanted, I still was able to finish. I still got the little medal, and I can go back and always do better the next time. So we want to focus in on these things. We want to make sure that when we set our mind on something that we prepare and get there in the best fashion. Right, Wendy?
For sure.
So don't quit. Just get prepared, right?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, Wendy, thanks on this fun episode. A little chit chat about bike riding, goal setting, mental toughness. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope your football team does better than mine did this past week. And as long as the Chiefs lose, we'll all be happy, right? So,
yes.
hashtag Taylor Swift's team. Anyways, Wendy. Well, thanks for hanging out today on this fun episode.
Well, thank you.
And for all you listeners, remember to retire with intent so you can live your golden years with the happiness and excitement you deserve.